Okay, from the outset, I believe these allegations were extremely serious and bear heavily on Kavanaugh's character. This is what Feinstein says. Well, if that's the case, why didn't you ask him about them? Why didn't you ask it? He was right there in front of you, under oath. Why didn't you ask him about them? Like, legitimately, I don't understand the line of reasoning. These were so serious that I hid them for months from my Senate Democratic colleagues, and then I released them at the last minute without any name attached, and now I want a new hearing. Well, just to clear his name, we should give Kavanaugh a new hearing. Just to clear his name. And just to get all the details, we should have Ford come and talk to the committee as well. But the Democrats are good at this game. They are very good with the last-minute dropping of the smear, which, I mean, frankly, it looks like to me. Again, maybe this is all true. Maybe it is. But the way Feinstein handles this makes it look like a smear. That's that's just from any objective level. Feinstein's behavior is the most questionable of anyone in this entire situation. She says, I believe these allegations were extremely serious. However, as we have seen over the past few days, they also come at a price for the victim. I hope the attacks and shaming of her will stop and this will be treated with the seriousness it deserves. Well, Feinstein did not treat it with seriousness. She hid it from her Senate colleagues. She did not report it to the FBI. She did not report it to law enforcement. She didn't report it to the White House. She didn't do any of those things. She held it and she held it and she held it. And then she released it at the last minute, and she expects the entire world to turn on a dime. She says, I support Mrs. Ford's decision to share her story, and now that she has, it is in the hands of the FBI to conduct an investigation. The FBI has already said, how the hell are we supposed to conduct an investigation? There's no specific allegation about a specific time and place. What are we supposed to do? Okay, it may be beyond the statute of limitations, and we also don't know what the federal crime here is. This is probably a state crime at best. Right? There was no transportation across state lines, so I'm not sure how this would be a Mann Act issue. So what exactly is what rises to the level of federal criminality here? What statute would be implicated? Not even sure. So this should happen before the Senate moves forward on this nominee. Jeff Flake has come forward. He says, we can't vote until we hear more. And the same thing is being said by a bunch of other politicians already. So I'm not sure what the story here is. Lindsey Graham has issued a statement saying that he will listen to any statement Ford wishes to make. He says, if Ford wishes to provide information to the committee, I would gladly listen to what she has to say and compare that against all the other information we've received about Judge Kavanaugh. He says if the committee is to hear from Ms. Ford, it should be done immediately so the process can continue as scheduled. And then he says, I agree with the concerns expressed in the Judiciary Committee's statement about the substance and process regarding the allegations in this latest claim against Judge Kavanaugh. And he said it was disturbing that these uncorroborated allegations would surface now. And Senator Grassley's office, Chuck Grassley on the Judiciary Committee, he says the same thing. He issued a statement where he said it's disturbing these uncorroborated allegations from more than 35 years ago during high school would surface on the eve of a committee vote after Democrats sat on them since July. If Ranking Member Feinstein and other committee Democrats took this claim seriously, they should have brought it to the full committee's attention much earlier. Well, yes. Instead, they said nothing during 2 joint phone calls with the nominee in August, 4 days of lengthy public hearings, a closed session for all committee members with the nominee where sensitive topics can be discussed, and in more than 1,300 written questions. 65 senators met individually with Judge Kavanaugh during a nearly 2-month period before the hearing began, and yet this was not brought up. Right? Yet Feinstein didn't try to share this with her colleagues ahead of many of these discussions. It raised a lot of questions about Democrats' tactics and motives to bring this to the rest of the committee's attention.